I mentioned AVEN multiple times in this video. It's the Asexuality, Visibility, and Education Network, and it's basically an online forum related to asexuality and the originator of quite a few ace symbols. So there's one ace related thing. Howdy y'all, I'm Mickey and welcome back to Asexual Awareness Week. I am uploading a new video every single weekday this week on different subtopics related to asexuality. Today's video is about different asexual symbols and kind of like joke reference things later on. The first thing I'm going to talk about would be the most common, and that's the asexual pride flag. That was coined back in 2010 on AVEN. It follows the striped pattern of most traditional pride flags, and each of the colors means something different. Black means asexuality, gray means gray sexuality, demisexuality, basically the gray zone between asexual and allosexual. White, the original post says it means sexuality. I saw another thing that said it means like the loved ones of ace people. I'm not sure which one people use more. The original post making the flag said it means sexuality. And purple means community. Altogether they make this thing right here. Another common thing to use in reference to asexuality is spades, because of the whole ace of spades. Cards in general are kind of used by aces as like signifying certain things sometimes. Sometimes you'll even see people using aces of the different symbols to signify their romantic attraction. Each symbol on a card was coined for a different romantic thing. So spades were for aromanticism, clubs were for questioning, diamonds were for gray or demi-romantic, and hearts were for alloromantic. That was like really common for a year or two, but it's not so common nowadays. It's not used as often because there were a lot of people who felt that their romantic attraction wasn't so easily encapsulated by one card, or in the case of if someone were, say, demi-romantic and homoromantic or whatever, and they weren't quite sure of the distinction between whether they should use alloromantic or demi-romantic, or maybe they weren't happy about the fact that like their identity wasn't specifically shown, or they felt it just couldn't be covered up that way. Whatever the reason, a lot of people stopped doing it, and I don't really know anyone who does do that anymore. But if you do see someone using cards in that way, that's what they mean. A small way of showing pride is a black ring on the right middle finger, which is also just called an ace ring. This idea came about back in 2005 on AVEN when people wanted a subtle way of showing pride without having to deck themselves out in like AVEN gear or the word asexual. There was a lot of discussion about what finger the ace ring should go on, and it was ultimately decided the middle finger would be the best for this. Then people had a bit of discussion about whether it should go on your right hand or left hand. Someone threw out that it would be awkward if someone who were asexual were to get married and then have a wedding ring on their left ring finger and an ace ring on their left middle finger. It would be awkward to try and like deal with that, so right middle finger it was. The ring itself was decided upon because rings are small, they're easy to obtain, they're not like difficult to put on, and solid black works well because it's androgynous, it doesn't clash with anything, so you don't have to worry about like it looking bad with your outfit if that's something you were concerned with. Basically, the ring just seemed like an easy, good, simple way of showing pride and having pride in your identity without having to be over the top if you don't want to be. Or you could be like me, be over the top and have an ace ring. Whatever suits you. Get it? Get it? Suits. Like card decks. The hidden ace quality. Terrible puns. Just awful. The rest of these aren't symbols as much as they are like kind of in-jokes, reference type things. The first is cake, because cake is better than sex. I have no idea where that one originated from, and it seems like most people don't either. No one really knows where cake is better than sex came from. It was used on Avon to greet new members. They were offered cake. I think that might still be a thing. I don't personally use Avon, so I don't know. But they would say have cake, and then they would do little like cake emojis. I really could not find anyone who knows the origin of the joke. Just that the joke there is that there are more important things in life than sex. There are a lot of things in life that are better than sex, and for ace people, when a lot of asexual people are not interested in sex, that becomes the joke there becomes like, why would you care about sex when there's cake? Really though, cake is so good. The second thing in this category is dragons. Again, I could not find where the origin of dragons being connected to asexuality. I just know it's similar to the cake joke in that dragons are seen as something that's like cooler than sex or relationships. Associating dragons and asexuality only really increased with the amount of characters who got things they were very passionate about and then never pursued relationships. The canon will lead you to believe because they are too interested in whatever the subject is, which includes dragons. At least in the case of Charlie Weasley from the Harry Potter series, who went into this whole career of studying and taking care of dragons and all of that, and then never married and never had kids. End statement here is that Charlie Weasley is an ace icon. Another thing would be space. Just it has ace in it. So things like Space Ace came about. Also, space has kind of just been like claimed by LGBTQ plus people in general. It's so big and amazing and beautiful and vast, and there's so much left to learn about it, just like the community. It's honestly the perfect symbol for all of it. And lastly, you'll also see a lot of really terrible jokes. A lot of ones about acing things, because I mean, come on. It's right there. Bad puns in general. Bad puns are the fuel that sustains me. So that's all the ace symbols and jokes and whatnot I gathered here today. I know other sexualities have like their own symbols and stuff, but do any others have like the small, maybe not immediately apparent things like the ring? Now I'm really interested. If you know of any symbols like that for other sexualities, tell me, because I'm really curious now. Tomorrow is going to be the last video in my Asexual Awareness Week video series, and it's going to be about common misconceptions that people have about asexuality, but that's tomorrow's video. For now, this is it. Ciao.